Okay. Is this working? Hello, hello? Oh, geez. How do I make this go? Hey, there we go. All right, can you folks hear me all right? Sorry for the late start here, guys. It's been quite a day, quite a week, if I'm being honest. Just gonna post some links up, and then we'll get talking about all this good stuff here. How's everybody doing? Okay. Links to Biosphere. Any Rammstein fans out there? All right. So guys, we got some cool stuff here I'll be talking about. Well, I hope it's cool. I think it's cool. You might also notice I sound a little strange. Getting over sort of a throat thing maybe. So I'll apologize in advance. That's one of the reasons I was a little slow tonight. I was putting the kid down, and then I had to make myself a little bit of honey water. Some hot water with honey is my favorite thing for a sore throat. But yeah, we are almost there. Just one more link, and then I'm good. All right, last link. Jiminy Christmas. This is a lot of work, man. All right, folks. Hey, I see that Ichthus is here. Stinker Buns as well. Am I going to pimp Daniel Johnson's Extremity Signature Edition? Well, yes and no. I mean, I don't have one here, but I am going to be doing some art for the promotion of it, which is something that I'm hopefully going to get some inspiration on tonight. Is like what because I haven't exactly figured out what I want to draw yet. So I thought it might be cool to do a flip through of Extremity, at least the first volume here, and sort of maybe just talk about what I like about it, and then maybe give myself some ideas, and kind of give you guys an update on what I've been working on. Because I have missed a couple weeks for various reasons. Last week my kiddo had to go get some minor surgery, and so that was a little bit stressful. It all went great. Thanks everybody for the well wishes. She did amazing. She had to have a cyst removed from her lip, a small cyst. Probably, benign and no issues. It's a pretty common thing, I guess, that people get these mucus cysts. And she did great, and the hospital did great. And so thank you guys for all the kind messages and patience as I took care of that. Dylan Royer, thank you for tuning in. Welcome. And then, we did some Chinese New Year stuff this weekend, which was really fun. I hope you guys also had a good Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year, or whatever you want to call it. My wife is Chinese American, and we did some fun stuff. We made a lot of dumplings and had a little dumpling party, which was really great. That's me taking a sip of my hot water. Okay, so here's what we got going on, guys. A few things. Number one, I just sent my files I approved my files for the printer to do the X-Men. I'm going to release a collection of all my X-Men drawings from the month of October this year. Excuse me. Thank you, Ichthus, for the well wishes. But yeah, so I did. A lot of you guys probably saw my Inktober this year was X-Men drawings, and just for pagination, our page count, I had to do an additional drawing that I did those because I needed 32 drawings and there's only 31 days in the month. So I did this domino, which I'm pretty happy with how this domino turned out. It was really fun. I might have even worked on it on the stream. I don't remember. But this is domino. And so in the very near future, you will see how you can order the X-Men Xtober collection of all my drawings. And I will also be putting domino up for sale on the website, along with, there's a few remaining pieces. And so if you want to snag those, now would be the time. Or you can wait until the collection comes out and snag one of the remaining drawings at that point in time. But yeah, this domino was pretty fun. It turned out pretty nice. She's got a zip tone on her. I always like when I can do stuff that feels like with these solid shapes. So yeah, X-Men news coming soon. I know a lot of people might have thought that I was going to have a news like I'm drawing X-Men. I sure wish that was the case. If you're an editor at Marvel and you're watching and you'd like some awesome guy to do some cool one-offs or a series of X-Men, come to me. We'll see, maybe someday. All right, so the other thing that I've been working on is ERIS Chapter 3. Some of you folks might be familiar with ERIS is my self-published sci-fi comic that I do with my younger brother Logan as the co-writer on it, and then I draw and color it and write it with him. And I had done the first two. The first issue I did in 2019. I think I released it on Kickstarter. And then the second issue I released after this first Beef Bros. And then before I could finish, my plan was to do Beef Bros 2 and then do ERIS 3, but then I started working on the Schlub. And so it kind of got bumped back. And so now I am finally wrapping up ERIS with the third chapter. So the third chapter will be the end of the series, and I will make the whole series available at that point again. So I'm very excited about it. It's some of the coolest stuff that I've ever drawn, in my opinion, and it's a story and a series that I feel really excited about. So I don't know, I just thought I'd show you guys a few of the first few pages here. It's not really any spoilers. I mean, you're just kind of seeing what's going on. I'm not going to explain them too much. I'll maybe talk about what I was trying to accomplish on some of them, but I'll leave the story stuff to be found out later. But yeah, I actually was trying to do a few different things on this page. I've actually been trying to get away from too much hatching, but sometimes I think a little bit of hatching can be really nice to just slow people down and give a moment some pause. So I did some kind of fun hatching here on Jubal, and then I did some cool, the old splatter on the stars, which I accomplished with some just matte, I cut a matte on here. And then page 2, kind of a cool trippy layout. This is a dream sequence, and so trying to do some cool trippy stuff here. One thing that I'm doing here, which probably makes no sense in this day and age, is in some cases, since I'm coloring this myself, it makes even less sense, but in some cases I'm using kind of a technique they used to do back in the day when you were trying to tell the colorist you wanted hard lines on a color section, but you didn't want to draw it with a black line because it's not supposed to be there. So I use the red lines. Now, obviously I'm coloring it, so I would have kind of known where those lines go anyway, but in some ways, if I can indicate that on the paper while I'm drawing it when it occurs to me, it's kind of nice to do that. And these are very high contrast lighting situations we're going to have here. So that's what the red lines are here. Thanks so much, like this, for the kind words on the paneling. This one is fun. I'm doing a lot of, in my opinion, crazy and innovative paneling on the third issue of ERIS, which you'll see some of here. Happy with the hair down here. It's nice. And then here's page 3. We kind of come out of that sequence and into Spaceship. It's the same ship you see them take in, I think, issue 1 and then use in issue 2 as well. And they're arriving in on a new planet here. And then we see the guys getting off the spaceship. I am using some zip tones on these pages just to kind of see what happens. It's a mixed bag on whether you're getting moires on some of them. I'd like to figure out the right combo, but I love the zips. I'm using them. If they don't work, I'll pull them out, The other thing you guys might notice is that I'm actually drawing my word balloons on the paper here. I'm not going to hand letter it, but I am going to keep the balloons on the paper for a variety of reasons. When I'm thumbnailing and I've written the book, I actually like to accommodate where the panels and where the word balloons are going to go early in the process, because what that does is it helps me to think about the word balloons as another aspect of the overall flow of the page instead of an afterthought, right? Working with letters is cool and fun and great, and you can get some cool results, but honestly, I think about lettering, maybe I'll get into this on a different episode, I think about it a little differently than a lot of other people, but I like the word balloons to be integrated into sort of a flow of how I want people to read the panels, not just a flow of, oh, top of the panel left, first word balloon, last word balloon, bottom of the panel right. Like, none of that stuff is that important to me as much as I'm thinking about it as scene, 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 and how the word balloons fit within there and how they lead to each other, right? So I think a letterer might have just stuck this balloon right up here, but I didn't want that. I wanted them to you have this ship coming to the planet, ship landing on the planet, guys getting off the ship with this word balloon. You come back, you come back over here, you see them, you're back here, you come back up and down. I think that there's a lot of people who make comics that don't give the reader much credit, and they think that people are gonna not figure out which balloons to read first, or I don't know. I think y'all are smart. You'll figure it out. I think it looks better this way. And also, if I know where the word balloons are before I start penciling and inking, I don't have to draw those parts. So you can actually see, I don't know if you guys can, it's pretty light, but in the blue lines that I print up, I do have the words in here already. They might change a little bit before we go to print, but I do use a font that's also based on my hand lettering, which, let me show you. I'll show you what my hand lettering looks like on paper over here. Where did I put that? Here we go. So to create the hand lettering, I used kind of a font generating program that takes your handwriting into a template and then creates it. And so what I did here was, with the old Ames guide, I worked at the size I normally work at to do letters, and I just did the alphabet and all the characters and stuff, and then digitally I pulled the best ones from these multiples and then stuck them into the template that they provided and generated this. I used to letter all my comics by hand on paper, but it's like the most taxing thing for me to do with my hand. Like, hand lettering is it really cramps up my hand pretty bad, and so I've taken that part out, but I use my hand lettering to create the digital lettering. So this is kind of a little peek into how I work on stuff that's mine, as opposed to the schlub, which is a lot more traditional assembly line style, where there's like a script by people, art by me, colors by someone, letters by somebody, and that's a great way to work, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if it is my own thing, I like to have as much of my hand in it as I can. But it felt really good. It feels really good to be drawing all the guys again, the ERIS guys. It's been really fun to get back in there and kind of just, say hi to the guys again. So yeah, here we go. ERIS 3 is on the way. I'm actually 9 pages deep already in the inks and pencils, and probably almost 30 pages deep on the thumbs right now. and it'll be an extra long issue, so it'll be a little longer than 30 pages. Actually, probably at least 40. We'll see. But it'll be released in a collected format, most likely. So that's those. Again, sorry about my throat, guys. We'll see how long I can go here. Sip my water here. Let's check in here. Beautiful page. Thanks for the paneling compliments. This diamond panel, yes. Panel flow, absolutely, man. I've had some arguments with people about lettering, specifically when Monsters came out recently, and everyone was telling me that some people thought that the lettering was really weird and bad, and I was like, you're crazy, man. It's next level thinking in the word balloons in that book. Really impressive stuff, in my opinion. But yeah, willing to buy my hand lettering. Well, thank you. Jeremy Heiler, good to see you, pal. I need to watch your video. I saw you had something. Jordan Kroger, that's right. More ERIS on the way, buddy. I know you're one of the people that will be ready for that. So we'll see, exactly when the release date on that will be, but I am working on that right now. It's probably why y'all haven't seen me posting very much, because I'm not really posting a lot of those. I might work on some of the pages here on the live stream, like maybe next week I might work on some ERIS pages, because that's what's on my desk. And I'm not like working with a company that's going to be mad at me for showing them. It's all just me. And then I have some other stuff lined up that I can't talk about yet, but no one will ever predict what it is. So we'll see where we end up with some of this stuff. But tonight we're going to look at some Extremity, talk about some Extremity, and then maybe, as we're going through it, if I get some ideas for what I'm going to do for my piece, maybe we can do some little sketching and stuff. Here's some little sketching I did. I just did some drawing the other day. This robot guy or something. Colored him up. Did this little self-portrait the other day for the hell of it. Sometimes I just goof off on like printer paper. It's got kind of a nice, immediacy to it. Oh, and here's a little comic I did with my daughter. We've been doing comics together. She asked me to draw the panels, and then we'll take turns filling in the boxes. That's been kind of fun. But anyway, Jeremy, thanks for being excited, buddy. I'm excited too. All right, we'll get that there. Let's draw with, I bought this pen. Let's see how it does. We'll draw with that today if we have some ideas. But this is going to be pretty casual. We're going to look through it. This is kind of how I start pieces sometimes. Like if I'm working on a specific book or a specific character, I'll pull out some books I have of it, and then I'll just kind of go through it and kind of just see what I'm vibing and what I like. I do feel some pressure to... my favorite characters in the book are I think his name's Shiloh and oh geez, and I'm spacing on his name. The brother. And I was thinking like, oh, I should probably do the dad or Thea, but because like they're the main characters, but they're on the cover, I guess, too. So I guess they're open game too. But we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing as we look through this. I actually only have this first collection, even though I have all the singles. Some of you guys know I know Dan, and so it was really fun to see this book coming out. This is still probably my favorite or second favorite project he's done is the Extremity series. I think he's going real hard in it. And so I'm really excited to look through this a little bit and talk about what's going on inside of it. As some of you, just to bring everybody up to speed, if you didn't know already, Skybound is going to do sort of an artist's edition of Extremity with all the original art printed in black and white, oversized. So if you guys aren't tracking that, you should put it on your list of things to keep track of. I think they're going to release it via Kickstarter. And I am going to... There's a few... I don't think I'm spoiling anything. A few artists are doing some sort of pieces to kind of help promote it. And I happen to be one of those people because Dan's my homie. Let's see. Let's check in again here. Max Machado, what's up? Made it to the live show. I'm glad you did. You're at the gym. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Ichthus. Next Inktober should be TMNT. Well, that's a fun idea. That's a maybe. I'll add that to the list. Jeremy, the trade is coming in April of the Schlub. That's right. So if you guys haven't heard, the Schlub is getting a trade paperback collection. It collects all 6 issues, including the extra size 6th issue. And I thought it was solicited already. I think it is. I looked it up, and it was showing up available on like Walmart and Amazon for pre-order. I'm excited that I have a lot of people in my life that are unable to buy comics at a comic book store because of where they live, but they'll finally be able to get the Schlub because it'll be available pretty much everywhere with the trade. And I'm really excited for everyone to get the trade and check it out and show support for the book so that we can get in as many hands as possible. All right. Let's look through Extremity by the old D-dubs. Funny story, guys. So I met Dan a while ago. He lives in Chicago. And it was a while before this had come out. It was like 2012. And I remember when I met him, he was still trying to decide what to call himself. Because Daniel Johnson is a little close to Daniel Johnston, the singer, you know. And then for a while, I think he was toying with going by Daniel Warren. And then he ended up doing the full 3 names, which I think is great. But I just know him as Dan. This book is really great, though. I remember when he was working on the pitch, it was these first 5 pages. Some elements of them I think were redone after the pitch was accepted. I know the colors were redone later on. There's 2 different colorists, one before Mike came on. And really, I mean, the opening here is just, I mean, he's got everything you want right here. You know, not only is it a great page, but it really gives you a sense of the world. It shows you what's important and what's happening all in one page right there. And then you get into the second page, same thing. You got sort of a montage scene, but still with these great dramatic angles. There's lots of foreground, background, middle ground. Like this page in particular is great. You got a foreground on top of these panels, or on top of everything, a middle ground with these characters in the tower, and then a background in the panels. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. Back at this point in time, Dan was still a little more noodly on the fabrics and stuff, and put all kinds of little tiny details everywhere. I kind of like that. He's a little looser now, which is also cool, but I kind of like some of the detail in these backgrounds. You can tell he's using thinner pens and stuff. Look at that, though. How cool is that drawing? And the colors here, so cool. Let's see here. Hey, Derek, what's up, buddy? Thank you for checking out the ERIS pages, saying they look good. Space Mullet, yeah, man, Space Mullet's great. You know, I've heard maybe there's going to be a new Space Mullet collection coming out. Now that it's out of the hands of the the Dark Lords. Of course, we got the speed bike. That's cool. I did a commission with Thea on this bike once, so that's another reason I'm not sure if I want to draw her. Is that I've drawn her a few times before for commissions. I don't think I've drawn the dad though. This guy here is cool. He's got this little bird that eats like cheese out of his eye socket. It reminded me. If any of you guys have seen, it's funny because Dan hasn't seen it, but if any of you guys have seen Ricky-O, the story of Ricky, it's this old movie. There's a prison warden who has a fake eye, and he pops it out, and inside the eye are mints that he eats. It's pretty funny. I remember Dan agonizing over figuring out this mask, and then being concerned after he had designed it. Mad Max came out, and I think he was worried it looked too much like Immortan Joe. I think it's definitely its own thing, though. It's pretty neat. And then we got this sky world here. Pretty cool. I think Dan might have mentioned this on his stream. The book was originally called Hope Rising, and then they changed it to Extremity. I think our friend Ryan came up with that title. Some really cool stuff here. Dan's good at drawing. This is something I'm trying to get better at. He's really good at drawing tiny things, you know? And that's one of the ways he's able to pack so many panels and so much onto one page. Is he's drawn a lot of small figures and small objects. Like right here, Thea's got to be, I mean, so tiny in this printed page, but even on the drawn page, I mean, this is like a, 1.5 inches maybe. And he doesn't lose any energy when he draws small, which is really hard to do. This it's hard to see, I guess, but this little bike right here of her riding is crazy. It's so good. Definitely had the speed lines going hard in this one. I mean, this is my kind of jam. This is one of the reasons I love this book so much, is that I love big battle scenes. You guys might know this just from seeing some of my other work, but I love big battle scenes. I was debating doing something like that for this piece, but honestly don't think that I have the time, and I don't want to act like I can draw a big battle scene better than him, so, well, not yet at least. But I love this too. One thing you'll notice right here that Dan is very smart about and gets from people like Otomo is there's a muzzle flash of the gun here, but the actual gun is higher than the muzzle flash. And it shows two things. It shows that in that brief second of a gun firing, the muzzle flash is going to separate from where the barrel is because the barrel's going to have a recoil. It also shows that everything is in motion. And so if you draw a gun shooting, it's not wrong to draw the gun, say this is your gun, with the muzzle flash right on it. But something that I try to do too is sometimes it's nice to just make some muzzle flashes that are not right at the end of the barrel. And it gives you more of a chaotic, like, kind of shooting everywhere. Little things like that go a long way. This is great stuff. Really great stuff. He's doing a lot of long panel or wide panels in here, kind of giving that wide effect. I really love this knee right here. And then Mike Spicer just popping everything, even back then popping stuff. This has a lot more natural colors, I think, than say Mike has done on Schlub or on Beta Ray Bill. But man, it still works though. All right. Dylan Royer says later. I guess that means he's leaving. See you later. Ricky O is fun, Jeremy. Yeah, you know, Derek, I'll probably do the Android. I was talking about that earlier. His name is, I think it's Shiloh. He shows up here in a bit. And actually, I'll show you guys. I have a page from this. I have an original art page from this. I should have brought it out. I'll bring it out next week maybe. But I'll point it out when we get there. This book is so brutal. There's so much just kind of violence against people that are, it's not just violence in the moment. You have violence of like a fight scene, but then you have these moments where they've captured somebody and they've decided to continue on the violence, you know. And that kind of stuff is more disturbing to me, honestly. You know, there's one thing to kill someone in the heat of battle. It's another thing to kill them as a prisoner, you know. And in this world of extremity, you know, they do it to kind of prove a point, and they do it to sort of get even, and they do it for revenge, and they do it for all these reasons. And it makes it a tough read, you know. It makes it, you really see like why Thea is having all this trouble. Ooh, if I botched that neck. Some of this stuff's pretty wacky. This guy here with the kind of goat head thing and his giant chomper hand cutter off thing. And they got a guy playing violin over here. I mean, this stuff's pretty wild, really. I mean, Dan's stuff always has that wild aspect to it. Kind of like these white borders and the black background. I think that's an afterthought. I don't think the pages were drawn like that. His horn. He always puts little touches on every design element that make it completely his. Sense of scale here is great. I struggle with this, finding a way to show scale with these tiny figures but have it still have weight. He's accomplishing that with a lot of effects here, but also like this heavy, he puts these, Dan a lot of times puts these heavy sound effects over the top of or behind the action, which gives it some weight and scale to it. But then look at this. This is some Darrow crap over here, man. Look at this. It's hard to see on this page, but he's drawn all these little guys in here, all these little robots and little pieces and stuff. And there he is. Rollo is the brother, that's right. And then I believe this is Shiloh. I did a drawing of him in this outfit a long, long time ago on my Tumblr, I think. But he's so cool. Dan always has a cool cyborg in a lot of his books. There's a cool one in Space Mullet as well. But Shiloh's pretty rad. I don't know if I'll go with this look just because I don't know if that's the, like if you look at the cover, he's got the scarf and jacket look. The classic Danny Warren Johnson look of scarf and jacket. Excuse me. But I love this, he's got this face here that's like it's like a, I don't know what you call it, what this shape is called, but it's like a, not a hexagon, but something like that. I don't know how he's even deciding. Oh, no, this goes here, this goes up, this goes up like that. And then he's got a little juicy thing here. Just kind of seeing what this is. Like a black head here. Something like that. Of course, monsters. You gotta have monsters everywhere. This is cool too. It's another one where you see the recoil. So the hand, she has this gun hand, and it kind of has this motion to it. You know, he's got the motion blur, kind of the Atomo or the what's his name? The Ghost in the Shell guy. The kind of hairy motion blur. you know, where you do the tiny little marks, which is cool. My stuff's a little more bloopy than that. But then, yeah, this moment here is where I was like, oh, yeah, Shiloh. This guy's awesome. He punches out this monster. That is so cool. Big wham over the top. Yeah, look at, and he adds all these little textures and stuff, which is fun. Reminds me of Stephen Platt, or even Simon Roy does stuff like that. I know Dan was he's still really into Simon stuff, but I know he was really into Simon stuff back at this time. Yeah, it's a cool design. All right. Did they say his name already? I want to double check that I'm right here. Yeah, hello, who are you? Paznina is the name of the people. Shiloh, that's his name. This is great too. This dropped shadow over the top of her. Very kind of classic comic technique. Cut this poor guy's hands off. I mean, I guess he's a bad guy, but... And then, of course, this noseless lady. This reminds me of a page from Space Mullet or Ghost Fleet. I can kind of see Dan's older style here. He was kind of getting the perspective going, and he would... I don't feel like he's doing the full figures in this sort of angle as much anymore. All right, Riccio is fun. Max Mikado, nice flow through the book. Scavenger's Reign on HBO, yeah. Well, you know, Scavenger's Reign, I really enjoyed it, and if you watch the whole series, it's got a lot of really great original ideas in it, but I do feel like it takes inspiration from a lot of things I like. I mean, The Prophet, relaunch by Brandon Graham and Simon Roy be one of them, which is another book I was looking at recently. But then also a lot of Mobius stuff like Gardens of Edina and things like that. It's a really cool series, though. I highly recommend checking it out. This is cool, too. I like this. I don't think I would draw it in an image for a promo, but I like how this battery or whatever comes out of Shiloh's head. That's pretty great. Yeah. This is cool. I like this pose of this guy right here. That's neat. And here they come. Again, look at these tiny little figures. I was just drawing a bunch of tiny figures on ERIS pages just the other day. I'm going to give Dan a run for his money as far as number of people on the page, but I was struggling to find that balance between when you're drawing a figure that's like this small, you know, like what details do you put in and what details don't you put in, right? So you want to have you want it to be recognizable as a figure, but if you want to get some motion in there too, you kind of have some leeway, I think, when they're smaller. But at the same time, if you want the action to read, you really got to kind of nail it at that scale, and then decide how much of the details of a costume are necessary for people to know who it is. Obviously, the color is going to help too. Again, these big action scenes Dan's really known for. Big monsters, big technology, you know, lots of big stuff. These are great. These are tiny little guys right here in the background. And they're, I mean, that's got to be about this big on the page, probably, on the drawn page. That's a great shot, though. You see how, you know, it gives you a sense of scale and a sense of geography to the battle. I think a lot of comics struggle with that, where you're just zoomed in all the time and you don't get a sense of the bigness of these moments. So here's my page. I own this page right here. You know, I gotta draw Shiloh, I think, since this is the page I own. This page right here, maybe I'll show the original art off at some point, but I remember we were drawn together with our buddy Landis at this place here in Chicago that we like to go to, and Dan was like, I want to give you guys, let's trade pages, let's trade pages. And so I was working on Weed Priest at the time, or I had just finished it, I think, my Weed Priest mini comic. And Dan was like, I really want to have a Weed Priest page. And I was like, okay, like we can trade something. And I think he had this page, he was like finishing it up. He's like, here, this page. Let's just trade this page for that. I was like, okay. Because I was really loving this, the action through the page. He's got this great foreground on the right, brings you down here to the blood, comes across through the character. You also have this scarf kind of leading you through. Actually, that's something I definitely want to have if I'm going to draw Shiloh, is that scarf. So I'm going to kind of jot down something with that right now. Yeah, that scarf is really cool. That's a great element. I like elements like that trail around behind it, the hero. But yeah, this is a great page. Maybe next week I'll pull it out so you can see some details. I do have it up on my Comic Art Fans account. If you guys go to Comic Art Fans, you'll see it there. Yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. Let's just get a sense of his costume here real quick. I'll move you guys over here. So he's got like just pants and a coat, kinda. But it's a Dan coat and pants, right? So I gotta see what aspects of that I can emulate. So let's just give him a shape here. And you got his head. Okay, so he's got kind of a loose scarf. There's a collar on the coat. The coat has a crunchy bottom, so it's a puffy kind of bomber style coat, but it's open. Underneath, it's just a black shirt, kind of the same color as the rest of them. And then you got these things that come on the sides, this kind of funny shaped face. Another thing I like to do, I'll pull the book out while I'm working on the final piece too, but it's kind of nice to kind of sketch from the book and then put that away while I start working on the drawing and kind of let my own kind of self come through a little bit. And then, yeah, he's got this coat here, which actually this coat might be fun to draw with less wrinkles than he does. It's something a little poofier. Robot hands, of course, with a big, he's got like a big, make that hand too big, but he's got like a big block on the back of his hand. Pants are just pants. They're just pants. Got a little zipper here, no belt. Got poofy pants too. Lots of poofies, not a lot of muscles in this one. It's mostly clothing. Dan didn't do a lot of muscle stuff till a little bit later, and he's got these little chunky things on top of his shoes, which 100% are my jam. I love a chunky thing on top of a shoe. Okay, there's a basic Shiloh. I think I can rock with that. The question is, do I want to put Rollo in it too? We'll see. What's your favorite art you own but you didn't draw? That's a tough question, Max, because I love all the art that I have. I've got a few pieces by Dan that are really great. I do love this page. It's a really great page. I have a piece by Seth Fisher, which is really special to me, from Green Lantern Will World. That one would be up there as well. My friend Isabella Rotman, I have some pages from her, but she also did the wedding invitations for my wedding, and that is another treasured piece. And then I have a Road Warrior piece by Jim Terry that I really, really love. And I also have a Landis Blair piece that I really love. It's hard to pick one. They're all pretty great. I still need to, there's still some on my bucket list. I need to do the trad page is the next thing I need to find a way to get somehow. But man, look at this. So what's really cool about Dan is he goes from just like super intensity, right? And staccato, right? And then you go cha 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 cha. And then some more action. And then you have this moment here. Pause, right? Pause, pause, pause. Long pause. And then just back to regular storytelling. And he's doing a lot of that with A, it's the number of panels, B, it's what you're showing in the panels. and then C, it's the overall kind of layout and size of the panels. And whether you choose to have a border on them too is another thing to consider. I think a lot about that kind of stuff. We'll see if we can find a good Rollo picture later. But yeah, he's obviously kind of tormented by this. I like that he lifts up the handle to undo his button here. So many tortured characters in Dan's books, troubled and tortured. Love it. There's a lot of stuff going. People think about Dan for action, but look at this. I mean, there's a whole sequence here, right? With like no action, really, just characters. Talking about the things that they're thinking about, what they care about, having moments together, and understanding each other or their own situation. I mean, we're still going through just dialogue. Obviously the action is great, but the moment I decided that Dan was like real good was when I was reading Space Mullet, and I could tell that the characters had stakes. There's stakes for the characters, and that's really what elevates the work, I think, for him. It's different for everybody. Every artist, creator has their own kind of thing. And here's the little guy, kind of like from Star Wars Episode 2. This little thing he rides around. This fist fight is great. Really good fist fight. I want to see some more. Actually, what's his name over at Hassan? What's his Panel X Panel? He did a great breakdown of this scene a few years. Well, it was probably 5 years ago now. But I want to see some. Here we go. More Shiloh here. Shiloh's back. He's got. Okay, so the things on his hands. Let me get a note of that here. The things on his hands are kind of like a horseshoe shape, like that. And then he has little knuckle knobs there. And I don't know if those continue onto the fingers. Dan sometimes leaves a lot of that open to interpretation, so I'll be sure to take advantage of that. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, his coat has multiple pockets. I'll make note of that too here. All right. That looks a little too much like Cherno Alpha for my liking. Look at that, though. Man, whew. That's hard to draw right there, folks. You can talk about punches and kicks and all that. Drawing a character sitting and having emotions with no face, this whole composition right here is great, especially right after this here. So Rollo kind of rolls with he's got like he also has the eye thing, of course. So Rollo's got kind of a little man bun up here, which I am accustomed to drawing on my characters from ERIS. One of them has that. And then he has armor with a cross thing here. And Dan did these like kind of diamond shaped stitching on the sleeves, which is really cool. Armband, short sleeve. He's got a shoulder pad. Okay. It's just fun to see kind of, the way this all developed over time, and then kind of see where he's gone since then. Still pouches though. I mean, I ain't gonna complain about that. I love pouches on people. So, and then it looks like he has like a leg wrap on his leg area, kind of like this. Oh, this is great too. This sequence right here. I love a good double stack of the same layout on top of each other but reversed. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's so nice. It's so nice for storytelling. It kind of gives you intro moments and outro for the little sequence, right? There's kind of micro sequences on pages sometimes where there's a sequence that'll read as one sort of unit, and then it kind of exists within the overall unit of the whole page. Oh yeah, this one too. This one's crazy. The interior view here. This one's crazy. I remember when I saw this one in real life, I was like, huh. He kind of makes you just want to throw your pencils away sometimes. But it's also very inspiring. The spiral staircase is the thing that gets me on this one. You know, he's got this spiral staircase down here, and then another one on the outside, and then another staircase here. You want me to draw staircases, man? Forget it. Pulling people's teeth out. Where he splits the spider? Yeah, Derek, that one is pretty rad. Jeremy, thanks for stopping by. Good luck with the kids, man. Let's see. Well, thanks, Max. I'm trying to do my best. Yeah, harsh book for sure. For sure. Oh, man. Mike, you know. I mean, Dan's great, but you stick Mike on him, and boy, oh boy, it's just like, this is a good page, but a lesser colorist would have ruined this, you know, because it's so subtle. It's so subtle. Shiloh, all messed up. Man, look at this too. Man, this is the thing that Dan does that I'm still trying to figure out when to use it, but he does these things like where you have a cast shadow coming across this, and it gives a sense of scale, a sense of drama and weight. Really smart, really great, you know, and then just the silhouette here. Fantastic. So you can see why this is getting an artist edition. And I'm glad it's this. I mean, I love all of Dan's work, but the nice thing about this book that's going to be perfect for an artist edition is just pages like that. I mean, there's details everywhere, and there's just so much beautiful brushwork on his stuff. I think everyone's going to be very shocked. I mean, I'm assuming that they'll be printing it in sort of a raw scan style. I really hope they are, not just a black and white art without the colors. Because before, man, look at all this, see? Before the adjustments are made, what's really amazing to me when I look at an artist edition that's done correctly is, you know, you see all the brush marks, and you see, a lot gets lost, honestly, in the translation. And we, you know, most of us, I think, you know, some of us draw just for the reproduction, but honestly, I know Dan does, and I try to a lot too. I just try to make the page look cool. And if something gets lost in the translation into the print and the color, you know, that is what it is, but the page itself will still look great as a piece of original art. And I think when people see the artist edition of this, they're going to be really blown away by how much texture and motion and, you know, all that is in the actual line work and in the blacks and in the brush lines and everything. These down angles are hard to pull off. I am not good at it. It's something I would love to learn how to do better. Atomo does it. He's probably the master of it. But Dan also draws these little, I love the way he draws these little bricks. I should just do the whole piece should just be these little bricks that he does kind of overlapping on each other. It gives them like a little edge on it. I still can't do it. I don't know how he does this. I think these little marks help. But yeah, this is fantastic. And to draw this angle, I was just trying to draw an angle like this in ERIS earlier, and man, oh man, I just was not getting it. To have the back feel, you know, it's so good. I love it. I'm not even going to try to do that right now. What am I doing? Getting to the end of this volume, maybe I'll do a few sketches, and then I'm not sure how much more my voice is going to take. If I remember correctly, this ends with a very gruesome death. Oh man, look at that. See, when you get the artist edition of this, it's going to look nuts. It's going to look nuts, man. It's going to look like a whole new piece when you see this without the line art being adjusted with threshold and without the colors. It'll be like seeing it for the first time. You guys are going to love it. This is great too. He's going all out here. He really is. I think that's Landis up there. I don't know if I'm on any of these pages. There's the Space Mullet guy. He definitely hides people in around everywhere. This is great. The raining down bullets and stuff. A lot of detail on the pages. David Mazzucchelli Artist Edition is great because it has the simple lines, but I'm excited for this. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I have that one up there, and it's great, but it's almost too clean, you know? Especially at this point. These pages are just frenetic. The actual art is frenetic on these. You know, some of these poses are very wild, and the characters start to... This is where the characters are starting to get a little more distorted on his pages, which is something he's doing a lot now. And it's fun to see how a lot of that starts here. And I think a lot of it comes out of just the work and then the schedule. Oh, man, that's great too. Mike put this little orange glow underneath. That's great. Yeah, this is the one, man. This is the one that needs the artist edition first, I think. You know, it's definitely an older work by him, but it has a lot of hallmarks, and it has a lot of things you don't see in his work now. I mean, the level of detail in this is very high. Oh yeah, this dude here, Hobby, he gets real messed up. They get him good. That's too bad. He was a good character. Very cool. Very cool. Holds up. Still holds up. All right, I'm going to do just a couple sketches here and see if I can get myself rolling. Because one thing that I'm going to work on this tomorrow, and my friend Riley Rossmo told me, like, one thing that's helped him is to do something on a piece before you end the day that's going to be part of what you're working on the next day, so that you're not starting the next day with a blank piece of paper in front of you. And I thought that was really good advice. So we're just going to do a few sketches and see what comes out. See if I can talk any longer. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions about this or thoughts about Extremity. If you guys are going to back the project, you know, I'd highly recommend it. I think it's in March is when it's happening. So I get a sense that this cyborg is fast, but also kind of powerful. So I'm probably going to want to do something that is, well, if I do both of them, that might change it. But we have the coat that's going to help us show some cool stuff. But we also have the scarf, right? Maybe as like a spinning to a punch, you could have like a big, maybe an alternate take on the scene with the monster, where he's kind of right here in the foreground, swinging towards it. Something like that might be cool. There's this image in Conan Red Nails that I think about a lot, where he's sort of about to swing at this big, or he swings his sword at this big creature that's coming at him. Something like that could be cool. Kind of a, you know, kind of something like that might be cool. I might just do this 9x12, I don't know. Because I'm not getting that much money on it. Jeff Darrow detail. Yeah, Max, exactly. Dan's a big fan of Jeff. They've had their issues, but I think he's always going to love his art. Something like that could be cool. Another thing that's kind of fun with a cyborg character like this might be to do something that plays that up. You know, you could have him arising out of the junk. I know they find him, but not arising, but it could be cool if he's here. You could even have his head open. Some junk around him. Fill it in with some details. Do something that's kind of more of a singular character. If I stick him with Rollo, I think Rollo is less of a fighter, so I'd probably want to stick him behind him like this, you know. Maybe Rollo's back behind him. He has a sword here. Just curl that over the top. Sometimes I'll start with just ideas for poses. Other times it'll be like a compositional start. This is more like a compositional start where I'm like, okay, we'll just do a kind of a triangle composition. Or sometimes there's an idea, you know, like, oh, maybe I'll show an alternate take on this. So what, you know, what's the angle? And then the challenge is figuring that out. Other times it's, okay, this is sort of the basic layout I want or pose I want. Now how can I make it work, you know, compositionally? Max, yeah, just go with what you, I mean, sometimes you should go with your first impulse. I know that I overthink things a lot of the time. This should be something that I don't overthink because it needs to be done soon. I kind of was just waiting for inspiration to strike me, and I thought, well, one of these days I'll just look at the book and I'm sure I'll come up with something. So one of the things I'm trying to do too is just see which parts of him I like to draw, you know? And I'm kind of liking the scarf, obviously. I'm kind of liking this bomber jacket. The legs are whatever, so they might be the part I want to stylize the most, you know, kind of make them feel fast in some way. I also had this idea earlier of what if I just did do a close-up shot of that battery coming out of his face. It's almost like abstract, right? Like if you haven't read the book, you would have no idea what this is. If it's like his open head with like the battery here, like really close up, and just kind of go nuts with details in here. That was another idea I had, but I don't know if that grabs as much as something that's figurative, because it's an action book, right? So you want to show some action. I'm not crazy about this cover either. I think some of the series covers were a little better than this, but this definitely gives you a sense of all the characters. I also was thinking about working text into it and doing my own version of the Extremity logo, but again, I don't think that that's probably what is going to help sell the book, is to do a different logo for it. But I love doing logos, so that's why I was considering it. Let's do some more sketches. All right. And I got this pen at, what's it called? The Japanese manga and stationery store. Oh boy, I'm spacing on the name of it. They're connected to Mitsuya Market, and it's kind of fun. It looks like a ballpoint pen, but it draws more like a felt tip. It's kind of cool. Uni ball. If anybody's curious. Might also be cool if he is sort of stopped, right? And he's kind of stopped. Well, maybe like stopped like this. And you see just the dead bodies sort of falling around him from the sky, you know, from where he chopped them all up. Something like that. You give it like a, maybe. This is like a fun part, but also a hard part. Is just because at some point you just have to decide on what you're gonna do, and then make it work. Because if you just second guess it the whole time, you'll never get anywhere. And I struggle with that. Maybe do some smaller ones here. Max, you're a big collector. Do you have any pieces that are your favorite pieces in your collection? I've seen some pretty amazing stuff in my days, and I'm always excited to hear what other people like and what they collect, because as an artist, I think I'm looking for slightly different things sometimes than say, the average reader. And it's not better or worse, just different things, you know, like I remember I was getting a page from my friend Dave Acosta. We were doing a trade, and the reason I wanted the page that I got from him, I should show that too, is because he drew a face from this angle that I never can get right, where the face is sort of you're at like almost like it's laying down, but you're almost at like a low angle with the face, and so the nose and eyes and mouth are like this. And Dave just drew it like perfect. And it was so beautiful and perfect. And I was like, it was that he drew the face from that angle, and B, it was that he had this beautiful hair that he had rendered out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, that's the page. He had other pages with big fights and stuff, but that face was like calling out to me. Oh yeah, Max, you do have a good commission for me. Which one did I get for you though? What was the one I did for you? I've done work for a couple different Maxes, believe it or not. I kind of like a hunched over body a little bit like this. Ooh, that could be cool. Give it like a Dutch angle here. Maybe Rollo is like back here too. We got some action coming off screen here. Some explosions or something. That might be cool. I'm liking that one right now. I'm liking this one right now. That's kind of a variation on the other one. Those are 3 strong possibilities. Oh right, Boba Fett. That's right, Max. Oh man, that one was fun. That was the first Boba Fett commission I ever had. And well, you know what? No, that's true. I thought I had drawn his head once, but I think it was just that was a stormtrooper I'm thinking of. So if I did one this size, could also do something with silhouettes of like people coming here, swords and knives and stuff, and you've got a small Shiloh here, so the action is selling it sort of extremity style instead of the specific character details. So he's jumping into battle here. Hey, like that. That could be kind of cool. Give it sort of a diagonal flow to it. It's a little too profile-y though. Okay, I'm gonna do 3 more ideas, and then I cannot talk anymore. I was talking to my daughter all day because I had her all day today without any respite. She didn't have any of her classes today, and she's a talker, and I'm a talker when I'm with her. Oh boy. Yeah, Max, that Boba Fett's great. I still use that on a bunch of my portfolio things when I send them out for gigs and stuff. That one turned out nice. Maybe like what would a back-to-back be like with these 2 guys? Maybe like Shiloh and Rollo. And you could let the scarf wrap around him. In the background, you can have some like crumbling castles and stuff. Maybe not up there. Maybe it's at the bottom. That's a little too bland, I think. Okay, let's do like 2 or 3 more here. The other one I was just thinking of was thanks, Jeremy. She is doing really well. She's doing better than me now. Mike Mignola Hellboy. Wow. That's pretty cool. Art Adams, huh? Wow. Hellboy commission. Wow. Those are some cool pieces to have, Max. If you've got a Comic Art Fans link, dude, you got to hit me up with that at some point. I got to check out your gallery. I love seeing that stuff. I almost wish that people who collect sometimes this happens, but I wish they would bring a bunch of their collection to shows for me to see. I know why you wouldn't, because you don't want to lose them or anything, but sometimes at a show a guy will, a person will come by and they'll have a bunch of their commissions from the show with them. And if I'm giving them a commission, I'm always like, well, let me see what else you got in the folder there. And it's very cool and inspiring. All right, so let's just imagine if I was going to do an 11 by 17. Another classic one for me, which I've done for Dan before, is just a battle-torn person, right? So you got, they're hunched over, maybe his arm is kind of damaged and falling off, and he's kind of like, you know, he's been through it, you know. I never get tired of this kind of drawing. Maybe other people do, but it's like he's half dead, but he's still, you know, still ready to fight, you know. That could be a fun one too, something like that. And he could even be well, no, maybe that would just be him. I was thinking there could be one with Rollo like that. He could be we could just straight up do a Pietà with Rollo. He's holding him. That might be a little too on the nose. Nah, we're not going to do that. This is alright, though. That's one I know I can pull off. It's like a go-to for me. And again, I don't think it ever doesn't look cool, so I don't feel bad having it as a go-to. But the warrior kind of standing, you know, post-battle or mid-battle is always good. I grew up with a lot of Conan, so... Awesome, Max. Thank you. All right, two more. Two more. Right now, these feel very... I think I need to think of something that's a little designy as an option. It's not so... Not that the figures aren't important, but something that maybe has a little more drama in the design. I always liked that in this book, it is a world of like floating things, you know? So if you had these floating castles up here from the book, not on the edge there, and they're just smoking from being in battle. And you could have, it could be Rollo or Thea or probably one of them more than that, just standing here, kind of seeing that happen, you know. That's not bad. You have like clouds. Something like that, maybe. Blood. Have a guy's hand over here, dead. That's a maybe too. And I do love a good fast. Here we go. Get that cool. I like this cool horseshoe shape on the hand. So you can have sort of a close up here with the face coming forward. Scarf. Something like that. Just like a side angle of Shiloh. Even stick Rollo back here if you wanted to. I kind of like this idea though of them, if they're next to each other, Rollo being sort of, you know, not as aggressive. Okay, one more. And this is the thing, right? Like sometimes you just gotta make yourself do it. Like I'm exhausted right now, but I want to get a few drawings in so when I come tomorrow, I can sort of reassess them with fresh eyes, pick one and start developing it a little bit. And then hopefully by the end of the day have something that's at least inkable or close to it. Okay, so sometimes I can start with shapes like that and it'll give some interesting results. And this is probably more work than it needs to be for me, but it's for Dan, you know. I can't half-ass it, you know. I gotta do something cool, you know. He's my boy. back here. Could be running away from an explosion. That could be cool. Bring that back here. That's not bad either. I always like a good Dutch angle. All right. Well, folks, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I need to get some rest so that I can hopefully work a little bit tomorrow. Stay tuned for more news on the X-Men book. It will be soon that I'm announcing that. I will be at C2E2. I'll mention this more and more as time goes on, but I'll be at C2E2 this year in April, and that is actually the same weekend of the week that the Schlub comes out. So if you can pick a show to go to, C2E2 is a great show. It's in the middle of the country. It's in the best city in the country, and I will be there amongst many other people, and the Schlub will just be coming out in trade paperback form. So I really hope you guys can think about coming out to that. Check in with you guys. Jeremy, Peace was really sick. I think Shiloh, Rollo together. Yeah, I agree. That might be the one. Thank you guys so much. I'm hoping to be back next week with either some, maybe some ERIS drawings for you guys to see. I'm going to be starting work on a pretty big 2-page spread soon, so maybe I'll be working on that. But enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that junk, and I'll see you next week.